Hey folks, Steve Urban here, and on today's episode of the Riderflex podcast, some key learnings and let's call them regrets from my own life and career. Wanted to share these with you in hopes that it might help others. At the age of 54, I've screwed up plenty of things in my life. And, often on the Riderflex podcast, I'm always giving advice, and a lot of that advice is based on either what I've learned or what I've seen or from job candidates that we talk to here at recruiting firm Riderflex, or from entrepreneurs that visit the Riderflex show and share their stories. So it probably feels like to some of you that I'm just giving out all this advice and I never made any mistakes or don't have any regrets of my own, but I do. I wanted to highlight the 5 here for you today in hopes that maybe it can help others. I'm sure I have a lot more than 5, but these are my top 5. Here we go. Number 1. First regret. We'll just use the subject line of, or the header line of regrets, I guess. Number 1, early networking. I was so cocky in my 20s and 30s that I just did not network strong enough. I didn't foster relationships like I should have. And I did not attach myself to mentors, great mentors, as quickly as I probably should. I do regret that. That was a mistake. It probably happened early on because I thought I knew everything. Super cocky. So early networking, I would say early networking is a regret for me and something I would do differently. Most of the relationships I have today all came, after I was 40 years old and I learned how important networking and relationships were. And I've spent a lot of time managing that in the last 14, 15, 16 years of my life, but could have done a much better job earlier on. When you're young and you're cocky and you're able to work 80 hours a week, you think, well, you know everything and you'll just work your ass off and that's all that matters. That's not true. Networking is absolutely critical, and I could have done a better job of it early on. So that's number 1. Number 2, work-life balance. I just worked all the time when I was younger, and I do regret that, not only for my family and my children, who I could have spent a lot more time with, but even for my own personal health, mental and physical health, my own personal hobbies, my own life. I could have enjoyed a lot more things when I was younger, and I didn't do it. Here's a perfect example. For those of you that watch the podcast, you know that I'm a huge mountain camper, outdoor guy. I go up to the mountains all the time in my Jeep and on my ATVs as much as possible now at the age of 54. I could have done a lot more of that when I was younger. I could have spent a lot more time with my children doing that when I was younger, and I didn't. I just worked all the time, and I do regret that. So number 2 was work-life balance. I encourage you to have a lot more work-life balance when you're in your 20s, 30s, et cetera. Working your ass off and working 70 hours a week just so you can get a little more money to buy a few nicer things, and maybe you live in a little bit bigger house. It's just not worth the trade-off that you'll lose with family time and hobbies and your own personal work-life balance. I regret that, and I wish I would have taken more time off and just enjoyed life earlier on. Number 3, I stayed too long at one position, and I would encourage you to watch that with your own career. I was at what they call the district manager level in retail for about 10 years. That's too long to stay at a level, whatever your level is, right? Whether it's manager, director, VP, coordinator, whatever you call yourself, whatever your level is, 10 years is too long. If you want to move up, you need to be more aggressive with your communication about what you want to do with your career when you're speaking to your bosses and your supervisors. So make sure that you are communicating clearly what you want to do with your career and being aggressive about it and how you pursue it. That doesn't mean work 80 hours a week, but it does mean have a goal, have a plan, and make sure you're talking to people about wanting to move up and do different things. I stayed too long in at one level, and I probably could have moved up sooner had I communicated that better. Number 4, when I did finally reach the C level, here's a couple of mistakes I've made. And by the way, I've done a full podcast just on this topic, number 4. But when I did finally reach C level, I didn't listen enough. I didn't ask enough questions. And I didn't move quickly enough to hire people that supported my own personal weaknesses. Those are the big 3 things. And again, I've done an entire episode on that topic. But I will just tell you that once you do move up into a C level, or let's call it a high ranking executive role, I would just encourage you to open your ears, close your mouth. You don't have to know everything right away. Ask more questions, listen to your people, and surround yourself with people that can support your weaknesses quickly. Number 5, my number 5 regret that I wanted to highlight for this particular episode is this. If you have an entrepreneurial bug of any kind and you've thought about or dreamed about or fantasized about starting your own business, do it. Go for it. Don't wait. I waited way too long. I started Riderflex when I was 49 years old. Wish I would have done it a long time ago, way before that. It's the happiest I've ever been. Don't make as much money as I used to as an executive, but I'll tell you, I'm a lot happier. And so if you are an entrepreneur, or if you have an entrepreneurial bug and you want to start something, just go for it. Just try it. If it doesn't make it, again, I've done full-blown episodes on this topic, but just go for it. Try it. If it doesn't work, you can always just go get another job. So those are the top 5 things I wanted to share with you today at the age of 54.